Welcome to Daddy's Gallery. Today I will show you, mystery and thriller movie title Scream. I want to let you know if this video contains spoilers ahead, I suggest you to watch the film in its entirely. Have a nice day and enjoy. At the beginning of the film, Tara who is at home alone. Home phone ringing. Seeing that it was an unknown number, Tara ignored it and returned to reply to a chat from Amber. But soon her home phone rang again. Tara, who felt uncomfortable, finally picked up the phone. It turned out that the person who called admitted that he was an acquaintance of his mother. Tara informs Amber that someone is calling her now. Amber asks Tara not to block and takes call from that person. He asked if Tara had ever seen a film called Step. Because Step movie is an old movie, Tara just knows and not so follow the horror film. Hearing this, Tara realized that she was being watched by someone. Tara then rushed to lock all the doors into her house. Tara, while looking around the window, she is still chatting with Amber and telling her how she is now. But the phone rang again, and strangely Amber could tell that the phone number was ringing. Tara picked up the phone back. From his confession, he cloned Amber's cell phone so she could contact Tara. He posted the video of Amber there. The caller was just playing a game together. If Tara lost in the game, the consequence is Amber who will be killed. Frightened by the threat, Tara was forced to join the game. In the game, Tara must answer the film about Step. He asked the question: who is the main character in the film Step, who is the writer, and who is the killer in the film Step. From some of the questions given, Tara can actually answer all of them correctly. But according him, the last answer is wrong. Tara replies one less. The killer from the Step film should have two. Hearing the caller's threat to kill Amber, she immediately went out intending to open the door. The killer turned out behind the door and stabbed Tara in her stomach. Even though she was injured, Tara still managed to fight back and closed the door again. But now her house key system can also be accessed by this killer. This killer managed to get in and started attacking Tara with all his might. Tara tried to resist and block the attack until the knife pierced through her palm. Tara, who was helpless, trying to escape. But it's too late. Tara is stabbed in the stomach. In the city of California, that afternoon, Sam with her boyfriend Richie. When they were busy making out, suddenly Sam got a message and a short call from someone named Wes, asking her to call back. Sam got word that last night his sister, Tara, was attacked by an unknown person at her house. But Tara is still alive with serious injuries and is now in the hospital. Hearing it, Sam and Richie immediately went to see Tara. Elsewhere, Wes, Amber, Mindy and those who came Chad with his girlfriend Liv. They discussed the tragedy that befell Tara. They all have to be careful now, because this has happened since 25 years ago, where in the city of Woodsboro, there was an uproar about the existence of a psychopathic serial killer and the culprit unpredictable and hard to find. They arrived at the hospital. Tara is shocked to see Sam coming. It was discovered that the two of them had not been together since a few years ago. Tara only lives alone with her mother, and her mother rarely comes home. She always works out of town. And it is also known that their father is dead. There they got to know each other. Then his friends also give time to Sam and Tara. Those who have just met again, of course, have many things they want to talk about together. Tara, who was crying, couldn't stand the terrible incident she had last night. Sam, who is in the hospital. When she is alone in the pantry, suddenly a man's shadow appears, and it is known that it is the shadow of her father's dead. Then her cell phone rang and it heard that it was a call from Ghostface. Sam challenged him to come, and suddenly it turned out that Ghostface was behind her. There was one member of the sheriff trying to check the situation there, but Ghostface was missing now. Tara is angry that Sam had to leave her alone without knowing what really happened. There Sam finally tries to uncover and investigate the person who attacked Tara. She knows the person who has something to do with the former Billy Loomis is Dewey, who is now a former police officer. She rushed to a Dewey place. At first Dewey didn't want to accept them there, but Sam admitted that she was Billy Loomis's daughter. There Sam tells what happened about the Ghostface attack to her and her sister. It is known that Dewey himself was a victim of atrocities who survived from the tragedy of the murder committed by Billy Loomis. The motive of the Ghostface himself obsessed from a movie step. Dewey knows the story of the serial killer very well. There are some rules for them if they want to survive: never believe in love, never believe in the best people for them. Because it does not rule out the serial killer is the closest person to them here. Dewey knows that Ghostface are people around them who already know the victim's condition. And there, it is Sam's job to find the killer, and lastly, Ghostface always has something to do with the past. At first, Dewey was reluctant to come back with this problem. Then he called Sydney and told her that Ghostface was back.
It's happening again.
In a Ghostface mask.
Dewey tried to contact Gail, one of the women who had been involved in the case in their past. In Wes's house, Wes's mother, Judy, is also a sheriff. Judy asked Wes not to hang around for a while because the condition of the city of Woodsboro is precarious now. At that time she left Wes alone at home. While on the way, Judy gets a call from an unknown number and it's a Ghostface. He threatened to kill her son. Immediately Judy tried to contact Wes, who was there, but he was taking a shower.
Pick up, Wes.
She soon came and ran to tell Wes, but it turned out it's to be a trap. Ghostface hides directly, blocks and stabs Judy there. She was brutally stabbed. Wes, who had taken a bath, was not aware of the danger that was threatening him. Then he got behind him and started attacking Wes. Unlucky Wes was really killed with his neck stabbed. Sam came to see the murder case. She tries to contact Richie, but there she sees the sheriff who is supposed to be looking after Tara. Sam immediately thought of Tara, who was still in the hospital. Dewey, who was there, also went with Sam. At the hospital, Tara hears like someone is out there. Feeling a bad sense, she tried to get out. Then suddenly the lamp is off in the hospital. No one was there. Tara continued to push her wheelchair even though her hand was still injured. She saw the guard sheriff dying and bleeding. She hears someone coming. Tara hides in one of the rooms, but it turns out to be Richie. He came because Sam called. Then suddenly Ghostface was behind him. Richie's cell phone rang and it was Sam's call. Ghostface then answered and used a device to change his voice. Ghostface gives Sam a choice: only one will survive between Tara or Richie. But it looks like Sam is trying to spare a time, and she came at the right time, but unfortunately Ghostface managed to escape.
I'll get Richie.
And just as they were about to take Richie and Tara from there, Ghostface suddenly came back and Dewey had a fight with him. Dewey rushes to take them away from there. But after making sure everything in the elevator, Dewey forgot that he didn't shoot him in the head. He came back alone to sort things out. But suddenly Ghostface woke up again and immediately stabbed him.
Yes, today.
It was Dewey who saw that Ghostface was wearing a bulletproof vest, and Dewey died there too. Gail, as her best friend, doesn't believe that Dewey should die and become a victim of Ghostface. Sydney also came there. Sydney met Sam there. She knows that Sam is Billy Loomis's daughter. Sydney wants to help Sam to find the serial killer. But Sam doesn't seem to want anything to do with Ghostface anymore. She chose to leave the town of Woodsboro with Tara. Sydney is one of the survivors of the serial murders committed by Billy Loomis. The cases that occur have something to do with previous people who have been involved. But it looks like Sam has given up and has chosen to walk away. Here Sydney has a tracking device installed in Sam's car. On their way out of Woodsboro City, Tara suddenly lost her inhaler even though she had it in his bag. There was no other choice, they had to go back to the hospital but it was too far. Tara remembers that she has an inhaler at her best friend's house, Amber, and her house is not far away. At first, Richie refused and no longer wanted to return to a city that was now prone to murder. But Sam tried to convince him and they finally turned back to Amber's house. At Amber's house, where there was a party that night, Chad was outside looking for Liv, who suddenly disappeared due to an argument. There Chad met Ghostface and Chad became one of the victims and had to die there. Sam, Tara, and Richie also come to Amber's house. Because Tara is her best friend and is sick, Amber asks everyone who is at the party to be asked to leave and the party is over. But just then it was Liv who reappeared and asked where Chad was. On the other scene, Sydney and Gail follow Sam's car. When she looked at her GPS and how shocked Sydney was that Sam was in the house of the former tragedy of the massacre committed by Billy Loomis. It was Sydney who contacted Sam and informed her that someone had purposely directed them to that house. Sydney asks Sam to get out of there right away. And that time, Ghostface reappeared and believed to be behind of Mindy.
Oh, shit!
After the incident of Mindy being stabbed, everyone comes out and here starts accusing and suspecting each other. Even more recently found Chad's body out there. In the midst of a panic condition, they began to distrust each other and suddenly Amber brought a gun and shot at Liv's head.
I know. Welcome to Act 3.
Even now, Sam doesn't believe in Richie because there could be two killers here. Sydney and Gail are coming back to their past. Amber is coming out, she is crying hysterically but they have experience and know that it's all a trap.
Fuck it. Gail.
Sydney fights Ghostface. They fell down the stairs. Then Sam came to help Sydney. Richie, who is still injured, tries to approach Sam and suddenly he stabs Sam in the stomach. This is where everything starts to show who they really are. It turns out that the masterminds behind all of this are Richie and Amber. But by the time Amber was about to take the captive Tara out, Tara was not there. Suddenly Tara hits Amber there. Then Sam quickly took advantage of Richie's unfocused time. A fight between them ensued, while Sydney and Gail fight Amber. Unlucky Amber died by burning all over her body.
Doors. You.
Sam is almost defenseless against Richie. Then she stabbed the knife into Richie's face.
Never fuck with the daughter of a serial killer.
She stabbed Richie repeatedly. Sam gets brutal and unforgiving and Tara shoots Amber in the head.
I still prefer the Pepsi.
And the movie ends. Don't forget subscribe, like, comment and share.